Well, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everybody. I wonder where we're headed today. Nathan Guerra here, Swift Community Live. We're at the TTT number 123, Road to Ruins. Heading to the jungle today, Dave, and looks like it's going to be a rumble. And we do have some awesome teams re-entering, it sounds like, from pre-production. We were told from Mr. Martin Carew over at WTRL headquarters that the numbers are really starting to come up a little bit, and it's great to have some of the teams back. We are seeing some new poster competition entries coming on in as well. So this is an interesting course, though, Dave. You know, and I'm just going to highlight real quickly here this this poster competition here from the Dirty Chronicle. Who will collect the bikes after the bike swaps? As they have all of these bikes on the side of the jungle. Well, wherever that is. I'm not sure where that is actually in the world, but this is an interesting one. I wonder if people are actually going to make the swaps or if it's just going to be a roll right on through.
Yeah, that looks like a hey, good day, Nathan. That looks like a bike share program gone bad. That's for sure. I saw Thomas Ervik's comment on Facebook about this, and it made me laugh. Hope there is still space to pass this bike dump when the Zone 12 hits the road. And bike swaps. Nathan, I have some stories for you from in real life for sure. It's always interesting, and there's always this risk-reward thing, right? So we'll have a chance to talk about that today. I'm generally not a fan. I think that you got a lot more to lose. And there's a thing about momentum as well. So we'll see if it pays off. Is actually, Nathan, let's try to make a note. Put a pin in this. Let's go back and see if the teams that win did much of that bike swapping out there today. See if it worked out or not. I guess the proof is in the pudding, right? Although, as you said, super exciting time. I noticed in Trofeo Bologna, getting a lot of the big names coming back, and the teams are starting to organize and move into ZRL4 mode. By the way, that stinger has been added on. Was that Elaine Montoya
Yeah, big shout
helping
out
us
to
out more?
Elaine. Big shout out
Holy
to Elaine.
cow.
Motion TV. Yeah, they're absolutely awesome.
So rad.
Yeah, very, very cool.
In a big day, I know you're working hard, Nathan, when something significant happens in the world of mountain biking, and you were all in. Your head was buried in the computer when I picked up with you 20 minutes ago, as I just bounced off of watching someone else Facebook living because it was geo-restricted where I am. But hey, Chris Blevins, the American from Durango, wins the World Short Track Championships. That's huge for, I mean, obviously you and I are American. I know most of our viewers probably aren't American, but you could probably relate to how stoked we are. Nathan's a mountain biker who's raced with Chris and stuff, and it's super cool.
Yeah, pretty amazing over here. Awesome to see. It's been a long time. And the rest of the world's like, whatever. We got lots of world champions all the time. What
Let's
are you
get to the team time trial.
Let's get to the team time trial. But on the American side of things, to have a world champion in the mountain bike is pretty amazing. Now, for this course, if you're unfamiliar with it, it does end up on the. If you're wondering why are we talking about bike swaps and what's the situation here with this course out here today, it's definitely a little bit different of a course, as we do run into some dirt out there, and because of that and the way that Zwift works, there are faster bikes for dirt sections of any of the world, or not the world, but any of the roads of Zwift. So if you are on a mountain bike or a cross bike, the cross bike not nearly as big of a difference, but as you can see off on that little loop down by the ravine over there, that little lake or ravine over there, that section right there on the jungle loop, as soon as they hit that, they are into some dirt sections actually out there. So because of that, there may be some bike swaps, but it is only that loop, and the rest of it is pavement. And so the bike swap, as you're saying there, Dave, is it actually worth it? You know, there is going to be some climbing that's involved there as well. I was just wondering how many people are going to, and the other thing is, you know, maybe different classes as well will have different outcomes from making a bike swap because of the amount of time that's actually spent on the dirt.
Well, I am seeing, and I love the Zwift community, Nathan, that NZ Bro, the Slatsik team, did not change bikes out there earlier. NZ Bro, notice the Z? Well, I think that's the policy now at Zwift Community Live. Didn't Anna Russell send out a memo? I think that we all are working with Z.
I don't know if I got the memo. I'm not sure if I got the memo, but
it didn't make it up to the CEO's desk. It only trickled down then. So, but at any rate, I love that this type of at this point now, the sophistication of the team time trialing, it's not just going out there and slugging it out. The difference is a matter of seconds, and the bike swap could gain or lose you those seconds out there for sure. And you make a great point, Nathan. You know, here's something I thought was really interesting. A lot of talk about the new Cervelo S5 that's out there, slipperiest bike that we have seen so far in the world of Zwift, and the difference that amount of slipperiness makes into a top level racer, and especially team time trialing, makes a big difference. But you're talking about over a 50-minute race. That would be a 7-second advantage that you'd have over the next best bike. Right? 7 seconds at the end of the race makes a difference, but it certainly shows you that, and again, that's amongst this very elite tier of bikes, right, Nathan? If you look at the beginner bike, the Zwift Carbon or whatever the first bike that you start with is, it's probably more like a minute difference over that 50 minutes of racing, right? So it does matter.
Yeah, I think so. I think it definitely does. I've been on the new S5 with the DT Swiss wheels, and it seems to be very slippery. Now, one last thing.
Are those the fastest wheels?
They're the new. Yeah, the new fastest wheels are going to be those new DT Swiss, the deep dish ones, full disc. But the herd of quokkas. I just had to highlight that there was a quokka with a switchblade. Well, Dave really wanted to highlight it actually. So watch out for these guys. Well. They look really menacing, right?
Yeah, don't judge a book by its cover, right? You go up and you try to pet one of these guys, and it whips out that switchblade and stabs you. Don't come crying to
Oh
us.
my goodness.
You've been warned, right? You're on alert. So, okay, 30K ish today, slightly under. Road to Ruins out here in Watopia. The significant, well, 240 meters of climbing, Nathan. If you were to ask me, the parameters of the perfect course, I would say, yeah, about 30K, little more, a little less, but just this amount of climbing. It's right. The thing about the climbing is it comes early, and you're really going to benefit by nursing riders through the climbing sector. It's not that severe either, but getting a rider or two through there, it'll really pay off because you've got a long drag to the finish line, flat and fast. So it'll be nice to be able to rotate riders off the front quickly and just keep hauling.
Jumping in quickly here with Evo Core, and there is a good amount of climbing action on this course. That climb over to the jungle right here that this Evo Core team is taking on is fairly significantly steep and uphill for a while. As you can see in the upper right hand corner, that's going to give you an idea of the steadiness. But then it's a steady downhill. And the other thing about the bike swap, where you would need to bike swap it, is fairly high speed actually. You can carry a lot of speed off of this downhill into the jungle, and coming to a full stop at that when
bummer,
you're at that kind of a high speed, you're losing a pretty good amount of time as well.
Yeah, you're cashing in a whole bunch of momentum there, right? If you were cruising at 4 miles an hour doing a bike swap and change, it's hardly a blip on the radar. But when you're dropping down from they'll be going 70, 80K per hour, right, Nathan, when they start slowing down to make that swap, theoretically, if you choose to. So
yeah, I mean, pretty fast. I'm not sure the exact number, but I mean,
maybe
they're
not
going to be
that
at least
quick,
maybe up to 50, 60-ish. I mean, we'll see in a second here. This team may give us an idea, but we can see one rider showing up on the mountain bike, actually, just deciding to go for the MTB right off the bat. So this will be interesting with Corey up here, and what the plan is here. Maybe this is just going to be a sacrifice of a rider all the way through, and see if everybody else can hang on.
Oh, interesting. How about this, right, Nathan? You put that rider on the front through that sector. Yeah, I'm going into wild theories. Hey, I want to give a shout out to Andrew Banky. I met Andrew at the Belgian Waffle Ride in Asheville the other day. He's an avid Zwifter, super cool guy, and I see that he's given Evo a shout out, Nathan. So nice pickup as we're in with the Evo team right now. Again, today we've got the mixed teams to start with here. 30K of racing, 240 meters of climbing, and this is going to be Evo Core that we're looking at. Evo, another one of the super. This is a really nice representation of the usual suspects, Nathan. When you look at all these squads, WLC, the Tequila Chasers, they're here every week. The Emus, love us some Emus. You got Destroyers of Cookies. These are all our favorite teams. ATP Camaro has been coming on strong lately, but TFC Lancaster, they've been slugging it out for years. Don't call it a comeback. ATP Racing Nitrogen, Team Type 1 Lancettes. I was super stoked to give a shout out to our Team Type 1 friends in the 100th anniversary of the discovery of insulin. Kirkmeyer Latte and Vikings Valhalla, the teams. We'll get splits out here for you today. So let's take a look, Nathan. That 16K, where does that fall in relation to the dirt sector here?
Maybe just as they're leaving the jungle.
I think that's a critical check
out here. So yeah. The 16K, I think most likely will be on the up and out of the actual jungle loop. We'll have to wait and see in just a moment here, but I think that this jungle loop,
I think you're right,
section is we'll see if Martin can get us a direct measurement on the kilometers of it here, but I believe it'll be right around that 8K when leaving here. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Now Corey here going to be the only one on a dirt friendly vehicle at this point, and sitting
William
at the back.
Corey.
Interesting enough. Yep, and that's exactly who that's going to be. Right guard to the back. They're taking a right-hand turn around this jungle loop. And a couple of little undulations that they're going to be looking forward to in just a moment. So it's going to be mainly downhill in a second. Jeff Searle here on the front, though. 3.4 from him. Steady as they take it on at 29 kilometers per hour. The WLC team, Tequila Chasers, really on the hunt as they have brought back 10 seconds already on the other riders. Now, as you were saying, though, Dave, 45 kilometers per hour on the downhill, coming to a full stop here purposefully? What do you think? I don't know. I don't think we're going to see a lot of riders doing it.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Risk reward. I think the risk is too high, and there's just not enough margin. The delta of how much you could gain isn't high enough. So, but then, Nathan, I'm pretty old school and conservative too, right? So, what do you think? Would you do it?
Maybe as a solo rider. I don't know. I mean, even then, the risk is so high. What I would do if it were a scratch race is maybe like sprint ahead, do a quick swap. And then only if it was multiple laps, really. One lap on this
just seems disruptive to me. Doesn't that just sound like a bummer?
Look, WLC are doing it. WLC are going full swap.
Yeah, okay.
Full swap here from WLC. So, there we go.
Okay.
Burton, Scherer, there it is. Bam, on the
go.
I've
never seen this before. Pretty unique
I don't
moment,
know. Like
Nathan.
they might just have to let Scherer go though, because not a quick enough swap. It looks like here. That's a 4 second. Lots of
man, you know me, Nathan. Like if I was on your team, you would be screaming at me right now, like, "Come on, Towle, what are you doing? Why?" And I'd be like, "I don't know. My sweat droplets fell on my iPad." And,
well, we've got a swap, so we'll see how this plays out
Fun
here.
To watch.
This is going to be interesting to see if it ends up paying off. All of them get together.
Nathan, have you ever seen this before in the history of
not in
WTRL?
a TTT? Not in a TTT. Yeah. I have seen it in a few others here. In scratch races and the like, but not in a time
tequila
trial.
Chasers. You better win.
Well, they had They had the second best time coming in. Now, if that suddenly
this will tell us a ton.
Really jumps, that'll be the telltale right there.
Sure will. This next split then coming in. So we still have a lot of teams to file through split one, but at 16K, we're going to, I think, have a really good idea whether this paid off or not. I'll give him credit though. So personally, not a risk taker in these scenarios, but I'm a fan of teams that are.
I don't know if Cryogen made a swap or if they showed up on mountain bikes. I wonder.
I can't imagine that showing up on mountain bikes would make any sense.
Yeah, I should have checked when they got onto the dirt. I didn't go back quick enough to the Cryogen team with the emus here, but they, I think, made a swap as well. So, and they're walking away from ODZ now. ODZ had brought them within a pretty good amount of time here. The ODZ Destroyer Cookers 14:23, obviously really flying. Now going out to a minute at this point. Is the bike swap really where it's at is going to be the question here, because the speeds here, 32 kilometers per hour, and we're seeing 45 kilometers per hour on this downhill. Now, this is not a downhill section, though. Let's see the comparison.
Well, you got to make up a massive amount of time by changing bikes to make it worth it to give up that. I mean, at best, it's a 20-second change. From going from the moment that you decide that you're going to stop making watts until you're making watts again.
Cryogen seemed to go real quick about it, though. When I saw Cryogen do it, I couldn't even get back to them quick enough. So some of these teams seem to have practiced it a little bit.
Throw a wet towel on top of your smart trainer the second you want to stop.
You just push A. So, Dave, did you know that A is brakes? So if you push A on your keyboard,
Nathan?
It just stops your bike immediately.
Why in God's name would I have ever pushed A then?
Just swap bikes.
I hear you, but no. Teaching moment here for sure.
So yeah, you push A and immediately your bike just stops. So and then you go over to your but don't make sure you don't unpair anything and you're clicking around. So because you push A and it goes immediately to your pairing screen, and that will stop your bike.
You're in your garage?
No, actually, that's not your garage. No. That's the thing. It takes you to the pairing screen of your devices, which then stops everything. Boy. And then you have to go over to your garage and get to the bike that you want. So I believe there's some people who may have scripted all of that, but
I bet you people have squires sitting there right next to them. They've got their 10-year-old or 12-year-old coached up on.
Here we go.
Right.
Another swap. ATP
Camaro here, or is it nitrogen? 1
I
second.
believe this is going to be. Wow, that was a quick up and go. Steve didn't make the swap even. Doesn't even look like he just said, "Forget it. I'm not swapping bikes." What's going on? It didn't look like
Matt, Steve, Canadians will not. They question everything. Good for you.
I don't know
Matt,
what
Steve,
is going on here. They didn't swap bikes.
So this is Nitro that we're looking at. Let me make sure. So again, with two different ATP teams out here, it's a little hard to tell who's exactly on which brackets now.
Because Team Type 1 are chasing them, so it is nitrogen. It is nitrogen.
Wow. All right.
I am confused what happened here with the bike swap situation. Huh.
Did we have one rider who did not get the aforementioned memo?
Well, they all stopped to swap, and then they said, "Forget it." It looks like
they bailed on the swap.
They bailed on this. They're like, "This is taking too long. Just go. This is taking too long. Just go.
Forget it."
What about Team Type 1?
That's frustrating.
I'm just going to this section of course to just know what's happening.
It's the best section of course we've ever seen. Yes. So again, this is 123 WTRLs. The World Tactical Racing League has been unbelievable to keep that rhythm going for so long. The steady drumbeat of this unbelievably fun racing. Teams start with 8. We're getting back into the swing of things and seeing a lot of teams starting with 8. You could start with a minimum of 4. Time is taken off of the fourth rider's wheel. Those are the basics for you if you're just joining us for the first time, as we're out on the Road to Ruins course, and this course provides one of the most unique scenarios that we've had, where it seems it's almost split right down the middle, to tell you the truth, Nathan, with whether you want to swap bikes as a team or not because of this lengthy dirt/mixed terrain sector that you go through. And we're trying to find out whether, well, there's so many different metrics here, but is it the right call or not? That's what we're working out right now.
Yeah, so, and one thing to recognize here as well, Dave, I think if we do see them stop, they may have swapped bikes and it didn't get reflected client side. When I say client side, on my game side, on the side of my game. So I have a feeling those from ATP may have made the swap and it didn't actually reflect on the graphics on our side.
That makes sense to me. We're just a little slow on the pickup on our end of all getting to see it. Completely makes sense.
Looks like the Rhinos are going for it, maybe. Oh, one stopping. Only one interested? Nope.
No, I think they're all going
to. Yep. So Rhinos are going for it. I'm loving that there's different teams going for this. This is absolutely great. Welch here making a quick swap, it looks like. How long is it going to take? I want to time their swaps. Did he just log out?
Did you see Corey Poole's comment, which is hysterical to me? I'm assuming this is tongue in cheek, where he says, "I encourage any top latte teams that have not yet raced to not swap. We appreciate the help."
Huh.
Right? Psychological warfare going on.
Well, it may just mean that that's the reality. Is it's just faster in Corey's mind,
or is he psych? Is it psych out head games from Corey?
Valhalla are stopping as well. So the top team. Valhalla.
When in doubt, when you're traveling anywhere internationally, do what the Norwegians do.
Look at his bike. He picked up these new wheels as well.
You're on these now. These ET Swiss.
These are
fastest,
so fast,
slipperiest.
Yeah. Win in a second. That's currently their race. Palmares for the
Still
Guerra.
on the Specialized. Hasn't made the
I think
jump
he did.
over.
I think this one did. I think he did. Oh, yeah. Oh, gotcha. I thought you meant on the bike swap for the mountain bike.
Yeah.
Yeah, still on
this
the
is fun, isn't
maybe, it? It may be a level thing there, or a drops thing. The S5 is like 1.5 million. So
I think you have to be level 27 as well. I believe I read that to get the Cervelo. That is, but most of these guys are going to be level 27. This team came in at
1359 just now, Dave. They already have so much.
Holy cow!
Time on everybody else.
They had
even just
buffer.
coming in.
Yikes! They're on a
Pro
great
Caliber.
day.
All on the Pro Caliber. Or is there one S Works in here? It looks like maybe one S Works. It looks like. No, they're all on. They all chose the Pro Caliber. I think the Pro Caliber may be the fastest MTB too. So that may be why.
These guys are amazing. Let's give a shout out to the whole team as they're on a great day. Vikings Valhalla, Arne Danielson, Johnny Hronis, Leif Erik Garvik, Peter Johansson, Runar Kenneth Hansen, and Vegard Haugen making up this team. All the Vikings. I was joking the other day, when you're in a Viking ship, we need everyone to row together. No one takes a break. These guys are absolutely in a Viking ship right now. This is an outstanding ride. Look at the formation here, Nathan. This is next level from Vikings Valhalla today. Command performance.
Absolutely flying out here today and showing us exactly why they came in with so much time. They're catching the rhinos like so quickly.
That's insane. Yikes.
38 seconds only up here. Now look at the rhinos all on these MTBs. This is a fun day for me actually seeing everybody is on these mountain bikes and hammering away through these sections.
I agree.
I want to see them kind of carving though a little bit here. I need some single track to make this a little bit more realistic to what we need to be doing.
Can you imagine a couple whoops to go through? Let me shout out all of our rhinos here. Another one of our all-time favorite teams to our Woolly Rhinos. Andy Ellis is the American. Out of the United Kingdom is Andy Lowe. Arwell Owen is the Welsh rider. Barry Collins and Greg Davitt are the Americans as well. Then a couple more riders out of the United Kingdom. It's a mix of Welsh, British, Americans, Joe Smallshaw, Jonathan Bishop. So our Woolly Rhinos, you've got them on your screen right now, and they are galloping rhinos. I tell you what, they're one of those animals, right, that their short burst of speed is tremendous. These rhinos have a lot more range than that because they're out here today. Let's take a look at these splits because 13:59 for the Vikings is going to be 16 seconds quicker than TFC Lancaster there. Right behind them are the DOC, ODZ, Destroyer of Cookies, ATP Nitrogen at a 14:34, and then it's very close between ATP Camaro and Team Type 1 Lancettes as they're basically tied for the fifth fastest time out there right now in our lattes. Most of the teams now, Nathan, are moving through the middle part of this course, so 30K of racing.
We're going to jump across over to our espressos and see how they're taking things on as we jump in with Canyon Dev. And always great to see the Canyon team. They're on a recruitment, it looks like, a recruitment effort at
They
this
haven't
point.
reached out to me.
Well, I don't know what they're thinking, Dave. I mean,
I don't know either. They probably assume I've already signed a big multi-year
obviously they just
deal.
want to lose. I mean, if they're not signing Dave Towle,
I guess their heart's not in it. I don't know. But no, that's we were talking about Caroline Williams.
This is flying from Z-Sun. They're already on the bridge. I mean, this is so fast. Evo here as well. All bike swapped. All bike swapped here. Evo Espresso 12:34 at the 8 kilometer mark. And we were almost spot on, actually. 16K is just leaving the jungle just about. So we will get that second check. And we'll get a really good idea because of where these checkpoints are at, Dave, as to what actually happened between the bike swaps and not the bike swaps. And we're going to try and get an idea through all of them. Now, there's going to be another stop coming up here in just a moment because...
Yeah, it's not over till that stop is done. Good point, Nathan.
And that's the other thing here, though, is that this stop is not as much of a loss because it's uphill. So you're still gaining a lot on this uphill grind with the mountain bike, actually. And then, you don't have to slow down as much and lose as much speed. So that's less time loss on this second stop. But there's two stops we're talking about here. What do you think? That's got to be 20 seconds, Dave. Are they really gaining 20 seconds through there? Maybe even more.
Yeah, I don't think so. But I'm starting to really... This could very well come out, Nathan, as a wash, if you know what I mean. Either way, it's about the same. But the difference for me then is you didn't have to take a risk at all if you're a team that doesn't change. But we're going to see. So I was just looking, thank you. I was just looking at these times, and it looks like ART, the Photons, have the fastest split time there from the first check. That 12:14 is flat out flying in our espressos. That's Andres, Dave Kinno, Mark Day, Mike Hoodless, and Rick Nichols all making up this Photons team. Let's see if they can hold on to that advantage. But, Nathan, I think that 123 here, swap back.
Evo
Good look at how
in with that 25:06 on. Okay. We're getting an
that
idea
was less
here.
than 10 seconds.
We're getting an idea here, Dave. 12:34, 12:49. Look at how much of a gap they opened up from that 12:34, 12:39 to 25:06 to 26:21. Were the Red Dwarfs on mountain bikes still? Or were they just going that
Red
fast?
Dwarf swap or not? Right. So
no, they didn't.
They did not.
Look.
Okay. Yep. Got you. 100%.
I don't think they
right
did.
now, using the empirical data that we've got, you would have to say the bike swap made sense. It certainly seemed to.
Now the question is, I mean, how much? And even with the time lost there, even if it's a minute, Dave, like it's a wash. Then, if it's less than a minute, it seems to have gained. It seems to have gained them something.
Yeah, it seems to me like I would nudge the needle towards it gained them something. We're going to start getting a better feel here as we fill in at the 16K. This is just so now at this point, you've done both swaps. You're back to the bike that you started with, and you're more than halfway through the race. But time-wise, you're significantly more than halfway through the race, Nathan, because you've gone through the dirt sector and you've done most of the climbing that you're going to have. Well, not most.
We got all the mountain bikes represented here. I like that. We got the Canyon, we got the Trek, and we've got the S-Works. This is a good day for me. I'm loving seeing all these MTBs out here. It's really fun, actually. ART though, they come in with a 24:48, Dave, and they also made the swap.
Yeah, so I think we're now going to say that a well-executed swap seems to be the way to go. 24:48 for ART. That's phenomenal here. Let's see if they can hold on to that advantage over Evo Espresso. They're in for a fight. No question. Zed Sun R, the Red Dwarfs at 26:21.
Nichols with the S5 and the DT Swiss, the new 2020.
Sick setup. This is as fast and slippery as it gets. Nichols is wow. I mean, this man is a human cash register. The amount of drops that he's been spending out there.
Wow. This is where it's at as far as the TT bike goes at this point.
This isn't
like the 11 seconds or so. I mean, it's over 10 seconds that you save with this over 50 minutes. It's a pretty big deal.
The wheels and the bike. I mean, Nathan,
the wheels and the bike together, it's huge over 50 minutes on the tests that were recently done. So
where the only place he's not winning is, in my estimation, is I bet you Anno Russell would have a field day with what he's done here with these yellow shoes and gloves with the kit. I would imagine that she would be disgusted.
What's happening?
Fashion with police.
Did Cryogen not stop? Oh.
So let's see. This is encouraging for Cryogen. We're jumping in.
Did they make the swap before I was able to get to them, perhaps? Huh. SZS made the swap, so maybe they just got back on their bikes. Maybe we'll get an answer in chat because we did not check on them on the way through here. But it does look like Team Swedish Swifters are going to be making swaps on over. It does look like Olsen, though, maybe. We'll see if he actually...
No, well, he's back. So
he's
they're 24:44.
Like, so.
They've got the fastest time there at the split by 4 seconds right now over the Photons.
So I want to know more about... Let's see if Cryogen can let us know if they actually did make a swap or not, because some crucial information here. Because the Gulls coming in with a 24:42, they went out 6th. TSC Waffles were 7th. Photons. So I mean, they're actually with the fastest time currently. Cryogen.
If they were in this group, they would have a 2-second advantage at this split. I think they were 24:42, right? For the Cryogen, which is racing in Doppio. For people out there, that should be the fastest outright time that we see up to this point, 24:42 at the 16K check. But that's not from this group.
Big Gulls fans. If we have any big Cryogen Gulls fans out there, let us know if you know the what went down with them and whether or not they did make the swap out there. It'd be interesting to see because this is an amazing time if they didn't. I mean, this is just heads and tails above everybody else from what we've seen so far. But Cryogen flying on the front here and showing us that they are ready for the Premier Division when it comes to TTT. And we also got some S5s out here. So people have obviously gotten the memo pretty quickly as to what the fastest bike in game is. I actually didn't check my Zwift Insider this morning, Dave. So did it was that already published? Because it came through on my stream last night. We were talking about it, and Eric was hanging out, letting us know from Eric Slangy from Zwift Insider. But said that there was an article going out today as the new fastest bikes and tests and wheels that had all gone down. I'm being told that the Gulls did not swap, actually. So they are just that fast. Ooh. Dave, I think I'm missing you here on Mike, maybe?
Yeah, we have a woman racing with us, Sherry Townsend, today on the ATP team as well. Sherry is a really great example of the community that exists up in the Minnesota area, helping develop. Like Elijah Beatty came through her program, or Kelly Catlin as well. Extremely cool. I know that she's heading over to Belgium to watch the World Championships coming up in just a few weeks as well. Good to see her out racing today.
We're going to jump around a little bit. We did catch on with lots of people cheering on the Gulls, it looks like here. So plenty of fans out there today. And watch out for them. They are going to be, this is probably just a warm-up here for what's to come in ZRL Season 4. But this is a big one here. I think this is a special one to win, though, as well, with this Road to Ruins, with the extra tactics added in here. And if they win it without that bike swap, and that seems to be the way to go, it's going to be... and kind of almost like there's a little bit of pride too, I think, that goes along with making the certain choice and it works out when it comes to tactics, not just the pure wattage that you can throw down, but the well thought out tactic at the end of the day.
It makes me think of the space program where it's not just the astronauts that are happy that the rocket made it to the moon. All the people back on Earth doing the calculations, they're pretty happy too. Right? I mean, it's nice when your math works out. Same thing out here when you put the effort into looking at all of the metrics and parameters and just doing testing as well to see how long it takes to change. I saw someone noting that alphabetically the Canyon bike comes up first on the Apple TV, so that would make it quicker. All of these things add up.
Huh.
And
that's interesting. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, when you think about it, it's the mental part of this sport so often. Just like we've said, it's not just watching these avatars. That's not what's interesting. It's learning the people behind them and what their tactics and strategy are. As we're getting down to it now, into the final third of racing here, as we're looking at teams now starting to lose riders as well. It's a tough day. I was thinking that I think it would be incredibly fun to see a course like this included for the Premier League and ZRL, or any of the ZRL community as well. I would think it would be fun to force those teams to make this decision, and it would be all kinds of pandemonium out there.
That's what we like to see, right? Just creating pandemonium with all
for the fans,
teams.
right?
It definitely does.
Without risking anyone's well-being. It makes
CLS
it exciting.
And the Vikings here having a little skills CLS. It looks like they're happy with the pass as Team CLS come right on through. And they're having a good day, it looks like. Team CLS with the 2607 flying by. My question is, what is going on here as TV, R3R, Coalition, looks like that Valhalla team starting first, getting caught. And Team CLS starting second. So they have been chasing the Viking team, Valhalla leg biter, for the entirety of the race.
How about AC/DC out here today? This is going to be, Richard Vale for one, out of the United Kingdom, Stuart Bullock, Brian Lafferty, Tom Bovary, Steve Carson, Simon de Kerpel, who I think there's Simon right there. who am I missing here? Dean Neal and Mark Surratt making up this team. Great job out there. Real international squad.
The U-turn hero.
We'll start.
What's this U-turn hero all about? That coming out of the Netherlands. AC/DC coming to the front now. 345 watts showing off for the TV time, it looks like. Another S5
On a
situation.
good day, aren't they? It's another one of the teams that has been here, it seems to me, since the creation, really, of esports racing. They are one of the original teams, Nathan, aren't they? In that first wave.
Yeah.
You were there. You're my resource for all of that. But a team that's continued to stay relevant and certainly have a tremendous vibe as these guys are down to under 7K to go. It's entirely flat on the way in now. Well, not entirely, but 95%, maybe more than that, 98% of the climbing is behind you at this point.
Yeah, this team started out as Team Z, DZI. Was with another charity for a little while, and then swapped over to World Bicycle Relief, and then changed their name up to R3R, actually. So that's been the progression here with the team. And always great to see across all the categories the R3R team in huge support of awesome charities. Looking through here, looks like this is going to be Coalition, though, taking over at the top at the end. Where were they at, though, in comparison? They were chasing R3R 25.52, 25.37. So the difference there, Coalition sitting in second place at the last checkpoint. They're going to hold on to first at this moment. You know, that wasn't said and done, I don't think.
No, you're talking about a tough, well, we'll see here. At that point, it's 15-ish seconds. If they've brought it down under 10, I'd say they're in with a real shot. If it's gone over 20, clearly, I think it's gone the other direction for them here. The final 6K out here, and it's a little bit less than that from that last split that we're looking at, will go by very, very quickly. Not a lot of terrain to make up time with out there.
Looks like R3R have caught a lot of teams out here, if I'm not incorrect. They did catch you, Koiter, it looks like. They're absolutely flying out here. So I'm wondering how much of a difference this was in the bike situation. We won't have information actually on whether or not they made swaps with this team. But this is ended up being a pretty exciting day when it comes to what is going to be the outcome. I am being told that the most experienced WTRL TTT team is in the Platinum League today. ATP Racing Nitrogen, actually, from what I'm seeing here. Lloyd Jones, Vance Nell. No, let me see here. Is it going to be Lancets? And ATP Racing Nitrogen and R3R AC/DC that we're looking at right now. Those are going to be the most experienced WTRL TTT riders that are on those teams. Gotcha. So Stephen Carson from R3R that we're looking at here right now. Actually, I think he's on the front.
You're saying that these riders have participated in more WTRL time trials?
They are most experienced. The most experienced, yeah. Most team time trials. So Lloyd Jones, Vance Nell, and Stephen Carson are going to be those riders. See if we can actually find their names and how many there are amongst them. Stephen Carson with 108. 108, it looks like. And 105 also for Stuart Bullock, from what I'm seeing. So plenty in there for him. 111 coming in for Lloyd Jones. Big shout out there. And Vance now with 109 team time trials. So
wow,
super, super committed. Wait for this next checkpoint. We'll get what R3R, whether or not they've held on through here. They're going to make their way on over out of the ocean side and through the volcano and back on over to the start pens area of the downtown Watopia. Stevie on a little bit of a dig off the front here at 25 kilometers. I'm going to check out
Well,
our
look at
Vienna set.
that. 37.07 from Coalition to slide inside of that time from R3R ACDC by 4 seconds. So there's the answer. They are flat out pinning it here. Coalition moving into the hot seat at that 24K check. 37.07 the fast time. Again, 37.11 for ACDC from R3R. Team CLS, the B52s with the 37.48. So it's a pretty significant gap back from these two teams that are locked in mortal combat at this point. Oh, it's going to be absolutely brutal. Both teams are going to have to scrape the bottom of the barrel to find a win out here today. Coalition in for a real battle now. Good job by them as they really started to pour it on here, Nathan.
Yeah, Coalition, interesting to see here. You know, starting that third seed, nowhere near the top. I mean, middle of the pack. But wow, what is happening here with Coalition as they brought back a solid amount of time? I mean, that's got to be almost 30 seconds there, over 16 to 24K, and then on top of that, they still have 6K to go to the line, and so R3R ACDC, they could bring this back, but if Coalition are stoking the fire, they're just going to keep opening this up.
So clearly, R3R is going to have to redouble their efforts because this is a huge advantage. Coalition has tremendous momentum going from that final check into the finish line. So absolutely, they are the team to beat at this point. R3R ACDC, let's see if they can rally the squad. Because, I mean, you're right, they're only 4 seconds back, and absolutely they can win. Unfortunately, the last couple of checks have just not been going their way out here. This is going to be the Rhinos that we're looking at now, our Rapid Rhinos with the 38.27. They're just right behind Evo Espresso for a top 5 spot here in our Frappe group.
Here's the R3R dev team coming on through with a fairly solid time. Looks like 40.07 so far here. Trying to bring back the Rhinos. Are missing them, it looks like, though, from the leaderboard here, maybe. So let's see if we can fix that up for you guys. But you, Coiter, now this is going to be 39.01, so struggling a little bit here, it looks like, today from this team. Maybe no bike swap from them, perhaps? That might be the difference. I mean, we're seeing some pretty big time gaps between these teams.
They need more than a bike swap with 2 minutes. Yeah.
Moving through some of the other times here, just real quickly, going to shout out our Mocha's current situation. 32. This is really spread out in the Mochas. Not used to seeing this actually amongst them. Like, usually this is a category that's very close, which tells me there's a big difference here from whatever kind of tactic that's being used within the Mochas.
TSZ Cannabule with a 32.18. Again, almost 2 minutes quicker there than the Sumatran Rhinos, sitting in second, and then another 2 minutes back to the Team Type 1 Gluconauts. Then it gets very close. Evo Flux Jaffa at 36.05, 36.19 for Cryogen Robbins. WCC the Dragons with the 36.46, looking at the fastest 8 times here at the mid-race check. Valhalla Dragonville is 36.49, and then Giant Camden, the Holy Rollers, sitting on a 38.21 right now. That's your Mochas. Yeah, it's blown to bits out there. Not even close in our top 3 spots. Rarely would you see 4 minutes separating the teams in the top 3. Unheard of.
Really unheard of. So this is a huge difference. And this is what I was talking about. Perhaps the amount of time spent in the jungle will have an impact on how much of a difference that it makes. And I get the feeling that that's what's going on here in the Mochas, is that the teams that did decide to swap up, because of the amount of time that's spent there with the watts per kilogram averages that they're going to have, might have made a much bigger difference when you swap over to just a faster bike. So,
well, I think it's more likely that some of the time gaps, it's more no one is winning the race per se by the bike swaps, but they're certainly taking themselves out of contention, would be my guess. You don't make up 2 minutes by bike swapping.
Yeah.
I mean, call me crazy, but if it was that much time, everybody would be doing it.
Yeah, TSC Cannibal are just absolutely flying out there today, obviously. Moving forward to them. Oh, let's see if we can even find them out here. They're so fast. Like, they're,
Yeah.
believe the Salvatore was on their team, but has been dropped as a rider that's going to be a. Here we go. So as we jump in, it looks like another rider actually been dropped by them. So they just keep on letting go of riders here as they move their way forward. And now we found him out on course here. It's going to be Von Shen here leading things out for them. They've got a nice little setup here. They're all in the yellow trons, it looks like. With that activist on the back. 4 riders left as they continue to just stomp the pedals and catch every rider they possibly can, it seems like. A pretty amazing job done by this TSC team.
This is Magnus von Schenek that we're with here. The SZ team started today with Frill Sundin, Joachim Moberg, I mentioned Magnus, Michael Aronson, Peter Bolender, Stefan Franzen, and Stefano De Salvatore. He also rides with Los Ketchup, and Tom Hammerberg. So they are down to the 4 left here. You can see that grouping of Swedish flags. Another nation that knows its way around some esports, that's for sure. And barring complete disaster, I think you'd have to shut down Sweden's internet to beat them at this point as TSC on a great day in our Mochas.
Super day by them. Good to see the efforts being put in. We'll see. It's a race for second place, that's for sure. As it's going to be even second place though with the RR Sumatra Rhinos flying out there, so it's gonna be a tough day to even catch them. So, got our top 2 figured out. It looks like it's gonna be the Team Type 1 Gluconauts though, I think, versus Crouch and Robbins for that 3rd place out there. We will be jumping on over to our women's race in just a moment. Want to get a few more of these times in for the Mochas and start checking out how things are playing out. We'll make a quick swap over and then come back to the finish of our men's race. But it is going to be the Vegan B team here. Team Vegan without a bike swap as they head into the jungle and get into their first checkpoints here. This is going to be in the Vienna Lattes that we've jumped in with. Vegan B's here, followed up by the Atom Racing Team Electrons. Z-Sun, Pluto, and Crush Pod are the 4 teams out on course. It does look like our Electrons here, neither of these teams making any swaps. So they're going to be staying on the bikes they showed up with. Z-Sun as well. On the women's side of things, a little less, it looks like, interested in the quick swaps here. I do see one rider, though, Cook, I believe, just showing up on the MTB, riding it on the way out. So will WTRL make the swap out here today?
Same course. All the parameters remain the same. Apologize, my internet's having some trouble here, but they'll be racing on the nearly 30-kilometer course. From all accounts, previous racers out there today, this one is a brute. I see James Barnes chiming in that Martin is not his favorite person right now, and I don't think James is alone, as this course is breaking some legs today. But as we get a chance to look at the women just underway out here, well, 8.7K in, so they're actually getting stuck in at this point. This is the WTRL team with our Vienna Lattes. Let's give a shout out to Almari. This is the South African rider, Almari de Melander, the Allison Lowry, Jennifer Schmidt, Jody Barton, Laura Casey Goff, Pippa Hobbs, Shelley Hindley, and Yvette Cook making up WTRL.
Crush Pod is out here as well, it looks like, on a roll. Haven't gotten their times in just as of yet. And it does look like we do have a couple of mountain bikes, actually a full squad of mountain bikes out here with Crush Pod. I believe they did make
Carly
a swap
Graham
then.
and company. Carly, the New Zealander on Crush Pod.
That have made this this swap, actually. So it'll be interesting to see how this ends up playing out for the ladies.
One of the things we've talked about with WTRL that makes a lot of sense is this would be a really good week to do the bike swap and coordinate your team. As I have seen some comments, and it makes total sense. It's not easy to get 8 people on the same page with the bike swap. So certainly, as repetition is the mother of learning, it's great to get some practice in with real race pressure on you as well. And it looks like CrushPod doing exactly that. Carly Graham, a well-known, high-quality rider. Lynn Mahey on this team as well. Nan Deerdorf McLean, Robin, Sarah Stohellet, Anya Heinen, and Ali Robson make up this CrushPod squad that we're in with right now. The familiar yellow jersey, looking very, very organized, nicely synced up right now. Watch for a good ride from them today out here.
We are seeing a comment actually coming through. This is an interesting one as we do look forward to ZRL Season 4. This is going to be SCCX Velo letting us know that ZRL Season 4 actually has Umezi Countryside to a route. So that is 3 times up a dirt climb. Interesting enough to see. So wonder if perhaps we're going to see some bike. This is kind of a warm up to these situations. I don't know about that. That's a lot.
I don't know.
That's a lot.
That doesn't make a ton of sense to me, but yeah.
But it'll be interesting with these mixed.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine 6 bike changes in a 30K time trial? That seems like a lot of meat to put through the grinder.
No, but what'll be the selection for the bikes though? Will be the question there, I think, and if people just end up riding something that's faster on dirt or not. You could just go for the hang on until you hit the climb, and then try and just go full gas over the top of the climb and see if you do get a break with a pack that can try and stay away. It's all selected for the mountain bike.
I always loved that discussion that we had. It seems like it was a year ago about like the wear and tear. Like, so if you did take your time trial bike into this dirt sector, when you came out of it, your wheel would be wobbling and your one pedal would fall off, and exactly what happens if you go do a gravel race on a road bike, right? Your handlebars end up slipping, your saddle rail breaks. There's so many things that bikes there's a tool for the job for sure, and absolutely right now CrushPod is on the right bike for the right moment. But it becomes, how much can you change? And I agree with you, Nathan. What's the best choice overall becomes the real decision. It looks like we're getting some times in here from the Waffles. Again, a 35:51, the fastest time, but only by 7 seconds over the Photons. TSZ 35:51, ART 35:58. 36:33 for Evo Espresso, Zedson R, the Red Dwarfs with a 38:20, and Vikings Valgrind in with a 41:51. That's the 24K check with 29.9K of racing. Again, this is Carly Graham, the New Zealander on CrushPod that we're with here. The yellow jerseys of CrushPod always represent well here in the world of esports. Nathan, looks like you've got Frappes up there, Coalition, 4-second advantage. That's the tightest race that we've got going today.
It is. And as times start to come in, we'll get an idea how that ends up playing out between Coalition and R3R. Very, very close racing as Coalition brought back a massive amount of time. I do think it did have something to do with that dirt section a little bit there. It was actually the downhill and the swap maybe. Maybe there was a struggle there with ACDC on the we are starting to get some results from these races. But
so it's not hard to imagine, right? A little bit of a hiccup with the bike change.
Yeah. I mean, if you're sitting there and you got to wait for somebody a little extra long, I mean, yeah, there's definitely.
And you're only as strong as the weakest link in your chain, right? So, yeah, which is a tough reality. We were talking about reality sandwich. Well, there's one for you. No matter how fast you change your bike, you're going to be reliant upon, the Dave Towle on your team, who's going to take forever and a day.
I thought you were supposed to be getting signed, Dave. I thought that was the.
Well, I can't talk about it. I can't talk about it right now because my agent management team But I'm excited for season ZRL 4 as well. I'll put it that way. I am excited to tell you. I mean, Nathan, we're all excited. I was talking with Martin before the broadcast, and it's going to be a great season. There's a lot of anticipation.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be the biggest season we've had so far with the anticipation.
No
We do
doubt.
see a lot. I actually see a lot of bigger names, and it gives you an idea with all of that. As you start to see these names popping up, promoting that they're getting ready, right? They're promoting that this is training for the ZRL, and they're putting it out there that you haven't ever seen that before. From what I remember, when it comes to some of the in real life pros and some of the bigger esports teams here talking about
The
what their
recruitment,
planning is for this season. I think there's just another level after having world championships, in that reality, as well as the respect for what this esport is, and what a mover that Zwift has been in the cycling space. I think it's just going to all kind of come together into this next season.
I completely agree. Nathan, I love Steven's comment here about using Buffalo bikes. I think that's your best bet just for reliability. In order to finish first you must finish, they say. And the Buffalo bikes, that bike's going to make it to the end. I heard you shouting out World Bicycle Relief earlier. That's the bike of choice, without any doubt. That they've really refined. It's such a great story what World Bicycle Relief is all about. You can always go to worldbicyclerelief.org to learn more about it. But Stephen, thank you. Love having people like Stephen out there. Let's see what we've got though now. Well, these splits are going to be the final splits that we get to look at before we see the finishing times. That's for the men. We've got the women right in the middle of it now. NZ Bro. This team is absolutely breaking through. Think maybe, Nathan, like Rose Beast mode 6 months ago. They showed up, they came in full force, and they stood and they delivered. And now they're going to be a part of the conversation going forward for a while. But the cheese rollers here in with the Etoiles of Wahoo Lecole, the WLC, and BBB. These are three outstanding squads that we've got in our Vienna Espresso group today.
Yeah, looking through it, looks like we're mainly with all regular bikes. Don't see too many swaps out here amongst the Espresso ladies.
No.
This is WLC. And this is a name that has been popping up.
Yeah, Maud. Absolutely. As a matter of fact, I would say that on Tuesday, this rider became one of the riders I'm expecting we will be talking a tremendous amount about. Without any doubt, super, super excited to see, at this point, seeing breakthrough riders showing up, Nathan, is a big deal. And LaRue out of South Africa might be, well, I mean, I guess I'm kind of tipping the cards a little bit, but looking forward, Nathan, she could be the biggest impact rider that we introduce into the ZRL.
Yeah, we'll see how this ends up playing
Talking
out.
about Maud LaRue.
I mean, WLC have been on also a major recruitment for the highest level, it seems like. And we'll see how Wahoo Lecole show up for this next season. I have a feeling it's going to be a level that we have not seen
Madeline,
before.
I'm sorry. Madeline LaRue. I apologize. You're right, Nathan. I don't know where I came up with Maud.
B2B getting caught, it looks like, here by NZ Bro. And Zed Bro. Gascoigne Spittle.
Did we have another rider named Maud maybe this week? Because Madeline LaRue was absolutely the rider I'm talking about, the standout.
Yeah, I'm not
positive.
positive.
This is NZ Bro, fittingly in the all black jersey, all black kit here. And it looks like they're going to make that catch of BBB.
Yeah, they caught, I believe they may even caught BBB that was behind them, actually, that's behind them now at this point. Not positive, but and then are going right on through B2B here at this point. So yeah, they are absolutely flying. I think the battle here is between NZ Bro and WLC as we're waiting for some time checks to come on in.
Nathan, I am so relieved. Maud is her real name.
Ah,
So I was losing my mind and I was really embarrassed because it's like, I was like, how could I get that one wrong?
I figured there was like a
Um,
nickname name thing going on there though.
that's it though.
Yeah.
Good. Well,
So
I feel a lot better
or
about myself.
short for the name, short for her name, Madeline and Maud. So
Yeah. Oh, right. Maybe Maud is a nickname for Madeline.
that's what I thought right away.
Right.
Yeah, I thought for sure that there was Madeline is her
I
sort of nickname. So it's the other way
Actually, it's
around.
funny. I see Bryn. Bryn is commenting now. Bryn Griffith. Thank you, Bryn. I appreciate you. He's saying Maud is her real name. Madeline is sort of a nickname. So either way, we got the right woman. And watch out for that monster. TFC waffles, Nathan. These times are pretty close, aren't they? 7 seconds between waffles and photons. Get your photons
Yeah.
off my waffles.
I'm wondering what happened. What's happening here? 35-41 versus that 35-51. So it'll be interesting to see how Waffles ended up against the CrowdGen Gulls from
Hey,
earlier. The Gulls did not make a swap, so
this
that's going to be interesting.
I'm so this is a really interesting moment here because what Madeline is going to be learning here is so she has a huge engine. Keeping the team together is very important. We watched Caroline Williams going through this as she's being introduced into the Canyon team time trial squad. Nice job, Maud. So you can see she's well aware. She's got situational awareness, which is going to be a big part of her success here. Just because you're the strongest rider doesn't mean you go to the front and drop the entire team. She clearly gets that. I like where her head is at.
Lingham now jumping over the top, it looks like here. Taking her pole.
Yeah, and I think they're finding the
3%.
rhythm, Nathan. It's just, you've been there with teams, a team like this, just kind of introducing some real horsepower. It's like learning how to drive a sports car. Every now and then you kind of over rev or you go too hot into a corner. You just got to figure it out. They're doing exactly that. I have a lot of faith in Wahoo Lacole here. Not just today, but going forward, right? I'm going to put a pin in this one as well. I have a feeling this team has got a really fun trajectory to follow along with.
Madeline now on another kick. Got a little bit of a rest and then heading to the front. 4.647. Steady. And she does seem to know exactly how to back off to not take too much speed as Lingham jumps back on. It looks like Arthur now up to 5.7. They're going to get things back together here. 5 riders left for this WLC team. As they've got 12.2 kilometers to go at this point. So that's the current situation for the espressos. We'll see if we can jump around a little bit to a couple of the other categories as we do have the frappes with What's Up Bandits, Z Scott Alba, the Cinnamon Rolls, Evo Comets are out there, another Crush Pod team, and Sox Watts Odd Sox, who have been dominating that category recently. So we'll see how things are playing out and if we've got any change-ups with the top teams in the Vienna Frappes.
Well, we're getting back into peak WTRL season when the data starts to trickle a little bit. It's like the Swallows returning to Capistrano. It's just part of how it all works. And we'll see. Oh, Jane Despis out here today. So this is Sox for Watch WRT. So you found a monster team, Nathan. One of the most familiar kits out there, a team that we have so much respect for, and it looks like they're going through a moment out here as well. A little split there on the front for Sox for Watch. They'll get it all figured out. Cassie Baldy out here today as well.
Yeah, they did drop off a few of the riders, it looks like. Now, interesting enough, those riders just continued on. Despas and Baldy, I think, without a bike swap. And the rest of the riders jumped on some mountain bikes.
Interesting. I'm going to give a shout out quickly, Nathan, while we do some analysis, because that's interesting, isn't it? Sally White, Lisa Jane Late, Julia Hargreaves, Jane Despis, Donna Watts, Kat Haynes, and Cassie Baldy making up Sox for Watch WRT. The yellow jersey is on the team. I'm trying to figure out who that is. Just missed.
Pod, I believe.
A Crush Pod rider there.
Crush Pod rider who went off.
Okay, so yeah.
Team.
Crush Pod sandwich right now with WRT right in the middle.
And Evo getting passed
this is
here as
crazy.
well. So
Yeah,
lots happening.
they're making a pass while they're about to be passed. It's like watching that fish eating a fish while it's about to be eaten.
Being told by DL that the bike changes were not showing on screen for him. Just finished and all changed to MTB, but we only saw some riders change. Yeah, sometimes on client side, not all of them are seen on your side. So I wonder if it has something to do with the update tick, perhaps, as if you catch it at the moment that Zwift updates the data between client and servers. So Madeleine is her Christian name. Madeleine is what she is called from what we're reading from De La Harpe Leroux, actually. So
if their last name is Leroux, we got to take that as an authoritative source. Right. Hey, let me shout out this team again. We love Joe Graham, Caroline Kraus, Frankie Vidler, Julia Volkman, Caroline Strasser, Leanne Daly, Sarah Hermans, and Sarah Paxton. That's Crush Pod. And the yellow jerseys out here. They've become perennial contenders, but they got some WRT right up on them now, as you can see. It looks like Cassie Baldy leading the WRT Socks for Watts team.
Looks like they were waiting for everybody to get together to make the pass, and now here we go. Going to go past.
Cassie's a real pro.
Z rider, very strong rider, been in amongst the top squads for quite a while here. Jane,
yeah, she's an upper tier, top shelf, as they say at the bar, right? That's how you do it, though. Group the team up, bunch up, and just motor through as a unit.
Just gun it. We're going to see a bike swap here in just a moment. I would assume so, with a lot of mountain bikes. They might actually all stop together.
It happens. All the teams, right?
So
it'd be like a tea party. Yeah. Because, Nathan, that comes up in about 200 meters here, where most of the teams have been swapping back. That's a lot of riders on screen for a team time trial.
See Scott Alba here, making their way around with Lou, it looks like, still with what seemed to be 6 riders intact. Using, looks like I'm not sure what level that is. It's one of the in-game Zwift originals, though, for the kit. Looks like Sasha Watts did lose one rider. That's going to be Lisa Jane, as well as another rider there, it looks like, from Evo Brisbane off the back. Lorna here, not going to be seeing the front of Z Scott Alba for the rest of the race. A lot of time.
I appreciate her carrying on, though. Way to stick it through to the finish.
Yeah, always great to see. Always great to see.
Yeah. She's not a quitter.
These time checks to come through. I think Zwift Power may be struggling a little bit out here today as we wait for those to come on in.
Isn't it amazing how much you realize the data means so much in a team time trial? Those reference points really tell the story.
It's absolutely everything.
It's everything, yeah.
Yeah, when it comes to a team time trial. At the top of the Vienna, this is the Mocha Vienna for the women. Ed Zed Bro with pie sandwiches were the first to go out. We at least see who's all hanging out in there and where they are out on course. It looks like WTRL What's Up C were with the furthest along with 12.6 to go. We are getting updates on the kilometers, though. How far they do have to go, which is good to see. At least something's coming through.
Looks like they're flying. About 9K from the finish right here as we pick up the WTRL team. Actually, just talking about the squad a little bit earlier. As Cleo Ferris.
I think.
Go ahead.
I think we'll go ahead and take a look at the men's results here, men's mixed results, as we wait for some of the data to come on through and try and figure itself out here. So let's go ahead and see how things played out with the Dopios, and we'll come back to the ladies as they finish up their racing. We get some data coming on through, but NZ Row, they are not messing around. 40,
who's
50
NZ
here.
Bro? You mean NZ
Bro? Yeah, NZ Bro coming on through.
Oh,
and I mean,
okay.
that's zone 1 here.
So that
Absolutely
time,
flying.
no, from what we understand, no bike change for Slurtzik from NZ Bro there as well. So that's interesting data point for sure that 40-50 was done sans change. INC Euro Aliens 32 seconds back. They were in zone 4 Platinum League. The Gulls just finished and they put a 42.54 up for the third fastest time. So again, we have 16 different zones around the world. We're right in the middle part of the day right now, and Zed Son Hercules there with a 43.38. You and I are going to be the first Americans to start saying Zed for Z. Let's see if it catches on over here, Nathan.
You're going to have to train me, that's for sure. Evo Warriors from Zone 1, they come on through with the 42.52. The TSC Waffles in the Platinum League, 43.06. Eat Dirt in the Espressos with 43.08. Aero Masters, 43.22. Adam Racing Team Photons there in 5th. Evo Espresso in 6th. Pretty mixed up. Zone 1 is flying out there today.
They sure are. Zone 1 is the new Platinum League.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense with where they're at in the world right now. Their indoor season is really picking up here. So,
and correct me if I'm wrong, Nathan, but Zone 1 would be maybe known to me as APAC, but like New Zealand and Australia, and they're in their winter time, right? So you'd think that maybe the Zwift participation is a little higher per capita down there. Is Zone 1 going to be Australia?
Exactly. Yeah, so that's why we see Aero Racers and a few other Evo Warriors. That tends to be, I think, an Asian or Pacific team as well. So
I can't wait to see Zwift Warriors back in ZRL, by the way. Mostly Japanese, a couple Australians on that team, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Smoking team,
Very
flying team, especially with some of the climbing courses we've got out there. And it does look like R3 at the top. They were able to bring back that. We saw that time. Yeah. Wow.
So they were down 4 seconds at that 24K check. So that's quite incredible. You called that, Nathan. That's really impressive. R3, RACDC with a 44.32. That's the top 3 times coming out of Platinum League. Let's see if that holds. Coalition had a heck of a ride today to finish in the second spot as of right now. I always say finish, but they haven't quite won that silver yet. They're going to have to hold off the final zones. Kirkmeyer, Frappe 1, third fastest time, and then Zone 1, speak of the devil, Eat Dirt 007. They were the fourth fastest. Yazama Nokai, fifth fastest. Team CLS B52 sixth. Evo Espresso 2 seventh. Rapid Rhinos, that's eighth fastest time. NZ Bro Neck Minute is ninth. And Uwe Kotter, the jeweler shop out of South Africa, their team, the 2 edition, 10th fastest time. That's our frappes for the mixed.
And then Vikings Valhalla at the top for the lattes, it looks like. Eater 2 there coming on through 1 minute back in Zone 1, actually. And it's going to be Cryogen Emos for the lattes there in for third. ATP Racing Nitrogen, WLC Tequila Chasers. Hold on for fifth. Zert Foxtrot in for sixth. Cryogen Blue Cranes, DFC Lancaster, Two Guys Nada, and ATP Camaro are the next ones coming on through. So that is your top 10 in the lattes with about a 3-minute split almost.
All right, so taking a look then for our mochas now, as I see Martin telling me that Zwift Power is fine and we will have those women's splits. So that's good to hear. Mocha TSC Cannonbule is a 53.15 for our fastest time. Sorry, I had to sneeze there. RR Sumatran Rhinos, second fastest time. These are both in the Platinum League. And then you can see Vikings Garmir, third fastest. We've got Evo Flux Jaffa fourth, Herd of Koalas fifth. Then the Gluconauts from Team Type 1 sixth, Eat Dirt Twa seventh, Zert Lota. That's our eighth fastest time. Valhalla Dragvandil ninth. And then Cryogen Robbins at this moment, they're holding on to the 10th fastest time with a 102.01. So that's our mochas.
Back in with WTRL from the in with our frappes here. And real quick, I do want to highlight the records. No records set in Vienna Espresso yet, from what we're being shown. But these are going to be all set, I believe, then today. I thought we've been on this before, though. So I'm wondering perhaps
I'm gonna
for
get. You
Vienna.
know why I'm gonna guess we haven't, Nathan? Because I've never been involved in this bike change discussion at this level before.
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
That's
maybe
just
you're right.
that's my thinking, right? Because I know it would have come up if we were here because it's exactly what we live for. That kind of drama and interest. So I'm going to say that's my reasoning. Anyways, let me shout out the ladies we've got. I love WTRL World Tactical Racing League, and not only do they put the best races on, but they've got some really cool teams. And this is Cleo Ferris, one of the Americans, Pamela Chamber, the other, along with Stacey Murphy on this team. Zoe Patterson out of the United Kingdom with Mim Taylor. Feike Blackwell is the Dutch rider on the team. June McMinn, English. And then, Argentina's Ro Berbel, along with James. Well, I see James is their director, it looks like. Actually, he's with Zedson. So, all right, there we have it. WTRL.
So what I'm
With
seeing
six.
here, the reason being that we do not have a course record for the Vienna Espresso is because it was very early days that this was used once in 2019. Number
Oh,
two, WTRL, well, actually, it was WTRL number 2. This
there were
course
probably
was
like
used.
20 teams participating then.
Yeah, so very, 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 very long time ago, obviously. Nine
Long before
teams
we
Nine
and
teams were involved. So there was no Vienna Espresso at that point. There
there was
was
no
no Vienna.
Dave Towle at that point. I mean, to be honest, I wasn't even close to doing these broadcasts in 2019. Um,
So what
it's a
I'm
long
wondering
time ago.
here, looking at the Frappe R3R ACDC, came in with a 44:32. That Playboys was actually set in that race though. If Interesting to see. So I'm being told I'm gonna go ahead and do this real quick as we wait for some of the data to come on through, and we can see the actual result from that. These are the results from that race number 2. So there was no data. Nobody raced in the Vienna Espressos. Race our 3R ladies. There was the ladies team actually. There was nobody that was racing from what we're
Huh.
seeing here in the other ladies teams. There was one ladies team. There was no Doppio. There was Foodsray, one. That's a long time ago. I didn't know Foodsray has been around that long. This is the most popular, obviously, with the Frappes here. Vixen Fox, ATP Racing, Viking Osborg. These are some familiar names. They've been around for a while, but maybe a little bit change ups in the branding. Viking Valhalla, Herd of Lions, Honey Badgers, Herd of Tigers, all coming on through. And this
I
is
haven't
again, this is
seen
from race
Herd of
number 2.
Tigers.
Race number
Yeah,
2.
that's a fantastic look back, and it doesn't it really show you how far we've come? There was
9
one
teams.
women's
9
team.
teams. 9 teams
So
total.
nine
One
teams
women's team.
raced. One of them was a women's team in week 2.
Huh.
These days, in the next month, we'll start ramping up to 1,000 teams, 7,000 riders. That'll become routine here quickly. A little bit of a change.
Looks like Sox Watts are doing what they do. We'll start moving through.
Socks for Watts being Socks for Watts.
We're in the lattes a little bit earlier, so let's see if we can jump on over to our. Let's wait for some of the data to come through. The pie sandwiches and the rest of that NZ Bro team. It'd be interesting to see how they're doing. And Emma Murray, Jesse Noon, Christy Pavlich, Lacey Fellows, Simone Faulkner, Sinead Innes, Sophie Lysat. That's a name actually that's been coming up a lot when it comes to this NZ Bro team. And tomorrow, Donna.
Sophie is one of the standouts, isn't she?
Yeah, well, also because I believe Anna knows Sophie in some way or another.
Oh.
Seems to know like the whole team, though. To be honest, so
She seems to know everybody in New Zealand, to tell you the truth. Big fan.
we jump over.
I thought I heard a rumor that the data was coming through, but looks like we are still going to anxiously await it here as the 23K tells me they're down to about 6K to go. So not too much rate, and it's all flat at this point as well. It put all the climbing behind them, 240 meters of it today.
This was the first team to go out. They actually have put time between themselves and the Rockies. Or maybe not. Maybe the Rockies are just on fire, actually, because the Rockies were the fifth team to go out, but have made up a solid amount of time, actually, on Eds and Bro as they make their way through here on this little S-turn section. Does look like a couple have been dropped off from both of these teams. It does look like Kirchmer, Vienna Latte doing what the Vienna Latte 2s do as they are catching a lot of riders out here. Now, always the fastest, though, is usually that KC Vienna Latte 1. You can see they went out 11th on the day, 10th on the day, chasing Rave C Euro. Eonians out here as well. Always great to see them. As I believe I was wearing their socks yesterday. Were nice enough to send some swag along. They've got their own in real life kits that are pretty awesome. I'm loving how the teams pull that off, Dave, and bring.
It's so cool.
It's so great. We've talked about this before, but just the reality of these virtual teams going into in real life representation, I think, is one of the coolest things we've seen because of the development of those communities and relationships online that then explode onto the scene of in real life cycling.
I'd love to meet Carla Williams in real life. There was a really nice feature on Jamie Lee Wright. Same thing about Jamie. They should be on Dave Towle Meets, actually, European edition. Two really cool women that have been instrumental in building the Aeonian program. Aeonian puts on races, the Iceni series. It's really inclusive. They have all the different levels. It's a great example of how to do it right. There's plenty of teams that are doing it right out there, and it's really fun to watch. Speaking of World of Zwift, I know that there was a little hiccup on Monday, but it's up and running, and it's a fun addition. A look at someone who's done really well in the team time trials and raced quite a few WTRLs along the way. I'm sure we'll see them back soon enough talking about 2024. But Kristen Kolchinski was our featured guest this week. I'd love to encourage folks to go watch and check out one of the coolest riders on the ZRL platform, or racing in the ZRL, I should say.
Jumping in with Rave here, looks like Bamboost. And it's going to be the rest of the Rave squad making their way around here in this D category. Excuse me, not D category, in with the Vienna, Mochas. And looking to distance themselves from Live by Cycling. I believe Rave did catch, though, our Faster After 50 crew as they make their way through the marina. 46 minutes in. This is a long day in the saddle here for a lot of these riders, Dave.
Yeah, it is. It really speaks to, even though it's only 30K of racing, it's a challenging 30K. Add in that dirt, which it certainly just makes it for, as you said, a long day out here.
Yeah, super solid climb. I mean, there's a good amount of climbing just to get over to the dirt, then a climb out of the dirt as well. So, it may only be 30K. I'd put that in quotes only, really, because it is a very, very difficult day out there to keep things together, even too, because the reality of how much the dirt does slow down the avatars.
Yeah, you're right. Obviously, your average speed is going to make it a longer day in the saddle as that drops. And today's a slow average speed day. A lot of work to not go that fast, which really, as James Barnes says, makes for a brutal team time trial. It's just mentally rough out there. To be working that hard but not going that fast, it's kind of weird.
Vienna Latte won, interesting enough, pretty far back on the time here, behind Z-Sun. Where did they start? We are just getting some data coming through here now, so good to see. As this is interesting now with Vienna Latte 1 coming at the 36:30. That is a very unexpected time here from this top team, actually. 3404 from What's Up UPC, dominating out here today. The fourth to go out. So I wonder, Kirchner, Vienna Latte struggling. Z-Sun Hydra, 3731. These are some very interesting times coming through.
This looks like a bike change gone bad to me.
Really, our top team right now is Aeonian. Aeonian has 3402 coming through at the last checkpoint. So
Rave C Euro with the 3342.
Oh, you're right. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep. Very interesting.
I was expecting the rave music to just pop in right there. 3342 is flying for Rave C Euro. Again, this is our Vienna category that we're talking about for the women. And so they're in command position, no question now. The Vienna Lattes here and that Rave team, it's a big day for them. It's exciting to see a breakthrough performance like this in our Vienna category.
Murray with
I wouldn't call it breakthrough, to tell you the truth. I mean, they've been thereabouts every week, to tell you the truth. It's just a solid rave ride.
Yeah, I mean, they've been, they were obviously top 2 to 3 last week. Now coming on through with this amazing ride, 3342. We'll see if they can hold on to it. I also wonder if there was any tactics that got involved there with any swaps or anything, but really solid ride here coming from
Most
Ray.
likely, huh?
I would think so. That's a pretty big gap and big difference to be making up between them and some of these other top teams.
So this team, talking about Team Rave, today they had Fran Bambust, Laura Nordine, Elizabeth Tygeson, Patricia Christoph, and Tiffany Colby making up Rave today. They started with 5, if I'm reading this correctly, and I think I am. So that's even more impressive to start with 5 and have this kind of a ride. More split times are coming in. So Watts UPC from WTRL with that 48:19. It's almost a minute quicker than the Rockies there with the second fastest time. The Bravas from Aeonian, third quickest right now. Kirkmeyer Vienna Latte now slotting in with a 51:14. That's going to put them with the fourth fastest time. And then NZ Bro Pie Sandwiches with a 51:59. That's your first 5 teams through the final check at 24K as they're hightailing their way to the finish line right now. But we're expecting to see Rave C Euro. They started right in the middle of the pack, but they've had the fastest time. And with a 20-second advantage, it'll be interesting to see if they've even increased that or whether they're going to have the Vienna Latte 1 team trying to, the closest team to them would be that What's Up from WTRL, and they've already put a 48:19. So that's the benchmark fast time right now at the third time check.
Aeonian only with 3 left at this point. 1 second back now, Kaz, and they were having an amazing ride now, but this is what happens on the back end of a race like this. Now backing down to 49:38. So, I mean, they were at 34:02, and now they have dropped back, actually, Dave, behind. It looks like even Rockies here. They have lost a massive amount of time over that last 8K or so.
Really tough with only 3 riders. Now, you might say, hey, I thought you needed 4 riders for your time. There is an exception made for teams that start with 4 can take the time off of their third rider. If I'm correct, I believe that is the rule.
Yes.
You have to stay up to date. Yes. But so that would explain why this time still counts for Aeonian, although they've got a tough road to hoe. A lot of heart being shown by Aeonian here.
Getting a little bit of a reset, I think, on the data here in just a moment. It's getting all of the.
I think they had some riders who just didn't make the start today, to tell you the truth. Talking about Aeonian. They had 6 registered, but only 4 showed up in the grid.
Does look like WTRL What's Up has finished out on the day so far here with Vienna. I'm going to jump around a little bit here and see if some of our other squads have finished as well. It does look like Wahoo Cole as well as Enzen Bro and BBB all crossed at the line, or at least less than a kilometer to go. Same with our Vienna Frappes getting across the line here. So we'll start getting some results coming on in, and the Vienna Latte. So it's just going to be left out here. The Mochas still, and that would make a lot of sense with 10 teams versus 5 or 4 teams. It's going to take a little bit longer for this crew with the time gaps to get to the finish line. Live by Cycling, I gotta say, last week we saw them on the podium. I mean, they really have came on strong last week. That was a big highlight for the Faster After 50 crew. So they showed up and dominated, and it's great to see them. I think they're having another solid ride out here today on this course here. So it does look like Z-Sun looking to chase them down a little bit. Rave, I do believe, did catch them and came by them, but Rave was in the second fastest team from last week. Kirchmer, again, just having a rough day, I think, out there. Unless, looking through, yeah, still 3 minutes back at this point. So maybe there was some sort of a confusion out there as the start time, or I'm not sure, because, I mean, that is a huge gap, actually.
Hard saying, not knowing, as they say. Something going on there.
Looks
This
like
is
NZ Bro
Kirkmeyer that
with
we're
the
in with.
finished up on the day so far. I'm not sure Adam Racing Team Ion showed up today.
Okay. So this is our Viennas that we're with. Z-Sun now. 4 riders left here.
It looks like it's been a hard day on a lot of these riders, too. These teams coming in with very splintered groups here at this point. A lot of these, I mean, this Z-Sun, from what I can see, they started with 5. They had to drop 1 off. We are seeing, behind the damage that can be done as Karina, Becky here from Live By, as well as Casey from Z-Sun, the solo riders rolling through as they look to finish up their ride out here today. Still obviously get their race in or their miles in. But as you can see, fellows here also 2.4 watts per kilogram, keeping it steady from NZ Bro as the Live By Cycling go by. Rave here trying to hold on to their time gap between themselves and Live By and maybe close down some time still. Teonian, who only have 3 riders left, making it a difficult day for them on the finish. NZ Bro, it looks like they ramped things up enough to, I think they only came across the line with a few, I would say 6 or maybe even less riders. I think they started with the full squad, and they dropped off at least 3, maybe 4 riders actually. So really taking it seriously here, and only coming
Who's
across
that?
the line with what they NZ Bro.
Ah,
As I can see Pavlovich that she was on with them, as well as Donald. I did see another one of the rider fellows there, so that's at least 3 riders that they had let go of on the day, which is the smart play.
did they finish?
Have them in the results actually. We can start bringing in here
Maybe.
as the Mochas are finishing up their race out here.
Aeonian that we're back in with now. Sharpest looking kits in the game. Shamanian, the rider that we're with, although these are the 3 that we were talking about trying to hold on to a spot in on the 3 fastest times from the Platinum League here. About 1K to go. Apologize for the lack of data today.
And we could go ahead and start maybe looking through. I think that these are fairly decided. The only thing that I'm wondering about is where KCVL1 are going to come in here between them. And, difficult to tell here at this point. For next week, we'll take a look and see what we got on the menu for WTRL number 124. This week, totally different from what we've seen for quite a while here with the bike swaps and everything. It's been pretty interesting to see. We're back out on Watopia, though, for the next one up. I believe we're going to be is it going to be team time? Actually, no. Maybe. Oh, I've got number 3 in. That's why. So check this out. This is kind of fun. So for next Thursday, that's not right, but this is some of the old school stuff, and you can just I put in any of the old school numbers, and we're able to bring on in uh, the old images that have been used in the past here from WTRL actually. So pretty cool to see. We're gonna start bringing in some of the data though here for the results on number 123. Let's go ahead and see how things played out within the Vienna espressos here, and this is something to pay attention to, I think, Dave, as we were hyping up Madeline, and I think with Madeline's presence, they took out Toyota Cryo RDT, the Wahoo Lacole team. That's a no joke by 26 seconds.
That's a big step forward for Wahoo Lacole Etoiles. Is that you nailed it? Cryo RDT from Toyota. They're no joke with the second fastest time. They were racing in zone 8 today, and then BBB with us here in Platinum. Third fastest time, excuse me, and then NZ Bro Cheese Rollers, fourth fastest here with a 50:13. So that's Vienna Espresso after 30K of racing. Road to Ruins.
And then over in with our Frabes, it is going to be Sox Watts Odd Sox making it happen like they usually do, 49-32. It's what WTRL What's Up Bandon's there, 50-42. Crash Pod, 150 back. That's your top three. All Platinum League till we hit the B Penguins, actually, with TSZ, Cinnamon Rolls, Evo Comets, and then B Penguins in that Zone 8 coming on through in 6th place. B2B in for 7th. C. Scott Alba in 8th. WMZ Diamonds, WMZ Sapphires, that is going to be 9th and 10th in the Vienna Frappes. Big gap with 20 minutes there. I wonder if Sapphire struggled a little bit on the day with keeping everything together. It looks usually like a technical with that kind of time gap here. But Crash Pod 2 there at the top, Dave, for the Vienna Latte.
Yeah, 53:51 to take the fastest time at this moment. They were racing with us in Platinum League Zone 8 for Evo Meteors with the second fastest time, and then go all the way back to the start of the day, Zone 1 and Zedson R. Burson with the third fastest, Zedson R. Pluto fourth, Vegan Bees in fifth. This all Platinum League with ART Electrons, Adam Racing Team there in sixth, TBR. The Big Ring Smile on Zone 1, seventh fastest time, and then WTRL's Drafting Dinos UK1 edition, eighth fastest time here, and that's in our Vienna Lattes.
I do believe most of our Viennas have finished. It's just going to be KC that's still out on course right now, and I'm not sure what was going on with them as they were pretty far behind us. We'll see how they slot in here in about a minute and 30 or so, and I'll try and give an update before we end up at the end, because they're usually the fastest to come through, but it's actually going to be WTRL What's Up UPC with a really solid time just ahead of Rave C Euro. The Rockies come on through for fourth. Union Bravas Rockies for third. Union Bravas hold on for fourth. Live by Cycling there in fifth. Slotted down two spots, I believe it is, from last week, but still a very solid ride. Christopher Vienna Latte 2 in for sixth. It's going to be NZ Bro Pie Sandwiches in for 7th place. Z-Sun Hydra in 8th. Evo Stars in 9th. And Rav CC coming in for 10th place. KCVL1, they may still able to make a top 10 here, but not going to be, I don't think, they're dominating usual each and every week that we've seen from them. Let's go ahead. I'm going to do a quick little refresh here, and I do believe we are going to have number 124. We're going to be on the Magnificent 8 next week. Make sure to sign up. 8 p.m. UK time is the cutoff on next Wednesday, 2 p.m. Central time. And if you do looking to be featured a little bit, make sure to be watching out for details on the Platinum League invite, as we appreciate all the info you can bring for the story behind the avatars. All right, well, Dave, a little bit of data struggle out there today, but that's okay. We were able to get across and feature everybody out there. And really interesting, the whole, on the whole, I would like to get some data on who swapped bikes. Maybe we need to do a poll in the WTRL Facebook group and figure out what was it like between the teams and who thought they got an advantage or not. You know, the proof's in the pudding, as you said, but there were some situations where it seemed like it was better, and then all of a sudden Cryogen Gulls showed up and just dominated without making a swap. So That was interesting. That was really interesting to see. Why? I wonder what the why is behind that.
Yeah, and it's interesting. The real question is, was it worth it? Was it the right move for your team or not? Right? Because it depends on your team as well, for sure. So yeah, fun day though. I love throwing that wrinkle into things. Next week, probably not going to be much bike swapping. That's for sure.
Yeah, probably not. I'm a different Magnificent Eight. They'll be swapping.
If you're swapping bikes next week, it's not going well.
Yeah, the swapping bikes, I think there as well, is just only going to be about the new fastest bikes that are out there. So make sure to head over to
Well, there you go.
check out the new articles that's coming out, because it's just the S5, I think, and the DT Swiss that people are going to be looking to swap to. I'm being told that there's a lot that had actually swapped out there. I don't know if the Gulls actually did. I'm being told the Emus did swap, but I thought that the Gulls did not. So. And Martin is letting us know here that we came second in PL, so it should be worth it. So, and he trained for it yesterday. People were really, it sounds like, taking this super seriously about the swap. Hey, Dave?
Well, I was saying, if you're going to do it, you don't want to do it for your first time ever right in the middle of a WTRL race. That's for sure. So having a little bit of practice makes a big, big difference.
All right, everybody, if you want some more of the results for the rest of the day throughout all of the zones, head on over to WTRL.racing. Check those out. Preseason registration is opening up actually for the ZRL coming up real quickly here. Be on the watch out for that. Our final race in the Zwift Classics is next week, the London International. So check that out on Tuesday. Another episode of World of Zwift coming out showing you how to race that as well. Is there a Dave Towle meets this next week, Dave?
We are wrapping that. That Kristen Kolchinski, who's on this week, we haven't filmed anymore as of now. Yeah.
Well, you better get moving, Dave.
Well, there's some plans.
Awesome to hear. Very cool to hear. All right, everybody. Otherwise, Kristen Armstrong workout tomorrow. That is on the companion app. Go sign up now and make sure to check out the live stream here on all the Zwift Community Live channels. And as always, everybody, ride on.